right, today we are joined by Coach Murph, one of my very good friends and an exceptional hitting coach as well. In fact, he's such a good hitting coach that he became Manny Ramirez's hitting coach. But Coach Murph, one of the things that I love about him and one of the things that we're going to talk about today is he didn't necessarily play professionally, but he's obviously working with some of the best hitters in the game. He's working with Manny Ramirez, working with Manny Ramirez Jr., and is working with hundreds of kids online, helping fix their swings in a very dramatic way that you're like, wow, that looks a lot better. So, Coach Murph, I can't wait to dive into this. Do you want to give a little intro on yourself as well?
Yeah, thanks, Bougie. I'm just a kid from New Hampshire. I didn't play at like super high levels, but I've always loved baseball. So my free time when I was a kid, I would just search on YouTube my favorite players' swings, and then I'd just repeat that over and over. So over time, I just understood the game. And when I got back into coaching after college, I realized how much the fundamentals matter. And that's what I really worked hard my whole coaching career to do, just fix the fundamentals of players. Because if you're doing the basic stuff wrong, then it's like a huge hindrance on your game. But once you fix the things that happen most, the basics, the fundamentals, serious dramatic change can happen.
I love it. So, by the way, if people want to follow you, your handle is I Coach Baseball, correct?
Yep.
With that being said, we're going to get into our 3 threes. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the 3 biggest problems that he sees in most swings that he reviews. Then we're going to talk about his 3 keys to success for every youth hitter. And then we're going to talk about the 3 best drills that you can do at home to get better today. So kick us off, Coach Murph. What are the 3 biggest problems that you see most hitters have?
Got it. First is so overlooked is the stance. So many kids just think the stance doesn't really matter. And this is what I thought too. Like I just tried to emulate my favorite players. Like I would just copy them, but there was no purpose behind the stance. But if we're in a weak position in our stance, it's so likely that that weakness will show up in our swing. So if we can just get stronger in our stance, then the likelihood that we'll be able to move into a strong swing is so much greater.
Okay, so first problem, not being in a strong stance.
Yes.
Okay,
weak
great.
stances kill swings.
Okay, what's the second biggest problem that you see?
The second biggest problem is too much movement. The only movement that should matter is literally swinging the bat, but it's the stuff that we do before the swing, like loading and striding. Kids kind of think that's part of the swing. I define the swing as only when the barrel drives forward. Okay, that's what needs to be fast, right, to create impact. But when we prepare the swing, this is the phase, I call it. Phase 1 is stance. Phase 2 is preparing the swing. So loading and striding, we want to have that as controlled as possible because we're trying to get in a good launch position, the position we swing from when our stride foot lands. Minimizing how big the movement, how big and fast the movements of loading and striding are. Most often, you'll see kids do a big leg kick for no reason, which has them out of control, maybe falling forward.
Okay. Problem 1, bad stance. Problem 2, too much movement before the swing. We're in a bad position to actually swing. Okay,
Correct.
What's problem 3?
Problem 3 is when we swing, trying to force the power from the upper body. So many kids trying to force the swing with the upper body by pulling their shoulder open or pulling their head off. There are 2 reasons why that stinks. 1, the upper body for every person is going to be weaker than the nucleus of our body. You can think thighs, butt, and core. Like the middle of our body is going to have the strongest muscles, give us the most power and the most control. Okay, so if we lead with this, more power. If we lead with this, less power. The other reason why leading with the upper body stinks is when we pull this, when this front shoulder pulls out, now all my direction is going across my body this way now. Instead, if we were to keep more closed with the shoulder, okay, now my direction's more through to the big part of the field, gap to gap, center field.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
So 3 big problems. Number 1, bad stance. Number 2, too much movement before. And number 3, too much upper body and not letting the lower body drive the swing.
Correct.
Super clear. Now, what are your 3 keys for success?
Yep, the 3 keys. Number 1 is consistency. So not just getting a bat in your hands when you're going to team practice or thinking that practice on your own has to be an hour and a half, but it's getting a bat in your hands and constantly practicing the swing, even if that's only like 15 swings a day. Having that consistency throughout the week rather than going hard one day a week is just so much more effective.
Okay. Consistency. Would you recommend an amount of time or number of swings that someone should have?
For example, my one-on-one program, I have my kids at least 3 times a week. They have to take at least like even 5 swings. Okay, obviously we want a higher benchmark, but at least to start, if you don't have a routine, start a routine of at least like 3 times a week on your own and like a minimum of 5 to 10 swings.
Okay, so consistency is key number 1. What's key number 2?
Key number 2, it's kind of related. It's having an at-home setup. If you have an at-home setup, then you have the ability to practice more consistently. If you don't have a tee and a net at home, which is all it takes, then you have to drive to a field, you have to drive to a cage, and then that just is another obstacle that keeps you from practicing. But if you have an at-home setup, the moment you think, hey, I want to swing, or you saw something on TV and you say, oh, that looks cool, let me work on that, you could walk into the garage, into the backyard, wherever it is, and practice it.
Beautiful. So consistency, at-home setup. What's key number 3?
Number 3, it all kind of revolves in the same theme as using video. So ideally, a kid in a family is going to have a tee and a net at home, and then you already have phones. Phones are all you need to capture video. So the reason video is important is because you can think you're doing something in your swing and it looks a whole different way in your mind. But when you look at it on video, which is what's actually happening, it could be completely different. For example, my basically whole career, I didn't know that I was loading my hands up and my bat was so wrapped behind my head until I looked at video. But if I had looked at video years before, seasons before, I would have noticed it and been like, oh, that kind of looks bad. I could probably correct that a little bit. And then it probably would have saved me a lot more or made my swing a lot more efficient. So when you use video, you can catch those things and you can just learn way more about your swing. As a hitter, you should really know your swing more than anyone else because it's you. You have the ability to see your swing all the time, whereas a team coach, he only sees you during team time.
I love it. Okay, dude, these are gold, Coach Murph. So now let's talk 3 drills that you can do at home to get better today. What would it be?
Love it. Super simple. Like, I am not a fan of teaching. I don't want to teach a kid a drill. I don't want to spend so much time explaining how a kid has to change their swing to do a drill. So all my drills are really close to a game swing. The first one, I call it the Murph drill because there's other names for it, but there's not a uniform name for it. But I use this with all my players, no matter what skill level, no matter what age. It's just a full swing, but broken into 2 parts. So it's just here, we're emphasizing having a good, strong stance, and then we're loading and striding into our launch position, then pausing, okay? So here, when we separate the swing into 2 parts, it makes kids focus on the importance of preparing the swing, loading and striding, okay? And then we're pausing for at least 2 seconds in this launch position, okay? This is giving us awareness of how our body feels from launch, okay? And then from here, after the 2 seconds, we are swinging, okay? So when we swing from this stagnant position, it forces us to be explosive. And baseball is an explosive sport, how fast we can move in a short time period. All right, so stride load into launch. And then here we're really just trying to lead the swing with our trunk, which is abs, hips, thighs. Okay, leading here, letting the hands follow, then releasing the barrel.
Love it. Okay, so the Murph drill, which is essentially a pause drill at launch position. Okay, what's the second drill?
Second one, this could be done in the Murph drill or just in a full swing, off the tee, off front toss, off live, is the split grip drill. So your same swing, we're just bringing the hand, if you have a rubber grip, just at the top of the grip, some space in between the hands. The reason I like this one is because one of the biggest issues kids have with their swing is finishing their swing, the extension through the ball. When we have a split grip drill, this hand gets closer to the barrel, meaning we have more control of the barrel. And also, one of the biggest things that kills players' swings are rollovers. But with the split grip drill, if you roll over, you can really feel it because your arms cross. So with the split grip drill, here all we want to emphasize is really using the top hand to control and drive the barrel through the ball. And another cue I like is almost pointing the top of the bat towards center field.
Love it. Okay. And that makes a ton of sense to also do that in with the Murph drill. Pause. Yep. So that it kind of layers on top of each other. Okay. Now, right. What's the third drill?
The third drill, and I will adjust this a little bit, is the hover drill. Okay, so in baseball, it's super important to learn single leg stability, particularly the rear leg, back leg stability. Think about pitching, we're balancing, hitting when we stride, we're balancing. So if we don't have the ability to balance or be stable in the back leg, we're going to fall and plant really early. And if we plant early, then we swing early, right? So if we are able to kind of hold this foot in the air, we can kind of just hang out until that pitch gets to us and then plant and go. So with the hover drill, all we're doing is we're getting strong in this back leg, lifting and hovering this foot in the air for 2 to 3 seconds. 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then planting and going. So this is really just to emphasize our balance and strength in the back leg.
Beautiful. You could probably also combine that with the split grip as well, right?
Correct. And you could combine it with the Murph drill.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay. So those 3 drills just gave you 4, 5, 6 drills, depending on how you piece it together.
Yep.
That all are reinforcing that same game swing that you're talking about.
Game swing. Yep. I want everything as close to the game swing as possible, especially for youth players.
Amazing. Okay, Coach Murph, this is awesome. We're going to finish with a lightning round of questions. So quick answers only. Okay. Then we'll talk about where people can learn more about you, some free resources that you have, all that kind of stuff. So you ready for the lightning round?
Got it.
Okay. Question number 1, favorite swing of all time?
He's a Yankee, but I really love Robinson Cano and old Red Sox, Andrew Benintendi.
Lovely. I love it. Okay. Most overrated hitting cue.
Most overrated hitting cue? That's a good question. Keep your eyes on the ball.
Okay.
Because coaches just always default to it, but it sounds obvious, so it's kind of like snarky, and the kids are like, well, obviously. But it's overrated because it's keep the eyes on the ball, not necessarily or not for the main objective to keep, to see the ball on contact, but it's more to keep your body posture correct. But if my eyes pull off, then my body posture starts to get tall and, not strong.
I love it. Okay. Question number 3, most underrated skill in hitting.
Most underrated skill in hitting, direction. So really being able to stay to the big part of the field, and that's a good indication of control of the swing.
And not pulling off this way.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. I love it. If you only had 5 minutes with a player, what's your go-to drill?
Murph drill.
Murph drill. Love it. Wood bat or metal bat for training?
Metal bat.
Oh, interesting. Why?
More confidence, easier to swing.
I love it. Okay. What's one hitting myth that you wish would die?
What is one hitting myth I wish would die? It's hands directly down to the ball.
The chop.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite baseball movie?
My favorite baseball movie is probably Moneyball because it's a little bit more into the numbers and stuff, and I love that.
Okay. Early work or late reps after practice?
Late reps. I think you're already in the zone.
What's the pitch that you hated facing most as a hitter?
High fastballs.
Okay. Yeah. Last question. What's one thing that you wish every youth coach knew about hitting?
One thing I knew every youth coach knew about hitting, how important the stance is.
Love it. Coach Murph, this is phenomenal. If people want to learn more about you, go to Instagram, go to YouTube. Do you have any free resources that they could go to?
Yep. So first off, you and I both create content. We do that so players all over the world can get good instruction. So you can follow me, I Coach Baseball, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I try to spread it everywhere so people can see it. That's free to you. Also on my website, coachmurphbaseball.com, I have free resources there, a little bit more in depth for you. But of course, my one-on-one program, 100% where I'm going to be able to impact kids the most because I'm working one-on-one. I have a little bit more personalized attention to you. I have a structure that requires you to practice consistently. So that's where kids have even increased their exit velocity 84% after like a week and a half just by fixing fundamental things.
Love it. Practicing at home with their parents, with a video, with a coach who can review it.
Yep. At home, on the tee, flexible for schedules. Yeah, I just wanted to make something that every family could do.
Amazing. Coach Murph, you're the man. Thanks so much, dude.
Thanks, Bougie. That's you.